Hi, good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Community News and Welfare Program from Channel 52. This is a program where we highlight about COVID and the situations getting affected in our community. We have with us our dear Mayor Andre Saya and also our Councilman Akhtar Zaman, a very close friend joining us today. And I actually wanted to start by thanking both of you for giving your precious time, especially Mayor, as you are, you're positive and you are going through your quarantining process, and then you still with that you are giving us time, So I really personally commend. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And even though I tested positive, I have to remain positive because a lot of it is your frame of mind.
You're absolutely right. And I think that you are fighting in the right way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to start the question with you. How are you feeling? I know, although you update us every day on Facebook, but I want to know, how are you feeling physically, mentally?
Well, I appreciate this opportunity. I want to assure all the residents, anyone who's watching, thank you, Anam Chowdhury and Farah, and thank you, Commissioner. I want to assure you that I'm doing very well. Still leading from the front, but this time in my basement. And I've been doing everything I can to boost my immune system. Plenty of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, multivitamins, you name it. I've been taking the emergency as well. So I recommend that people do the same. And I believe I was asked earlier about hydroxychloroquine. I took that as well, along with a Z-Pack. And I believe both were effective.
Okay.
And the one symptom I noticed was that I lost my sense of smell. I'm proud to report that I'm getting it back.
Yes, you said that you tested it by your son's diaper.
Yeah, my son's soiled diaper.
Okay. And I know you have been always in the front line, even with in your basement, you are still, working from your front line. So would you please tell us in brief steps that you took now staying at home as you are not, outdoor walking?
Yeah, it's not easy being home, but I will tell you, I'm on the phone with my public safety director every day, public health officer every day, fire chief, police chief. We coordinate. So my basement has become a bunker. And I'm channeling my inner Winston Churchill because that's how he ran England during World War II. And thank you, Commissioner Kobir Ahmed. I am feeling better. And you delivered supplies along with catered food from Toro's, one of my favorite restaurants in Paterson. Thank you, Commissioner.
So what do you think about recent pandemic situation, specifically in Paterson? And what is your assessment? And so what do you think?
Well, so part of the problem in Paterson is our density. We are the second most densely populated city of any municipality in the country with 100,000 or more people in their population. The most densely populated city in the country is New York City. So we're second. So being such a compact city, you have many people living in homes and they are susceptible to spreading. So let's say, for instance, you have 8 people in a household. If one gets it, there's a high likelihood that everyone gets it in the household. So that's why we're seeing a spike in our numbers. But Commissioner, you're volunteering your time at William Paterson University. So we've been testing an awful lot, and the vast majority of the people who are getting tested are Patersonians.
That is true. And beside the part of, people are living in basements and, so it's a high population area.
It is.
And the other thing is that how many people are actually abiding by the time
social distancing.
Right. So at the same time, I want to ask this question from Akhtar Zaman because you are a local Bangladeshi and you know what goes around within the households and among our community. Because this question is linked with how much our community abide by the rules. So what are your thoughts in that?
Well, good evening, Mel. Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening.
Thank you. Actually, this pandemic actually caught everyone off guard. And it's really, this is what I would call is like crime against humanity. This pandemic is like so contagious. It's like, um, this is, I never seen in my lifetime something like this. And every day opening the Facebook and bad news. And as you know, we have quite a few Bengali people died in the community, and especially there's a guy, he was a Hafiz Rubel. He was like only 25, and this one really hurt. And yesterday news I heard about that, who is a good friend of mine. I had a conversation with him like a month and a half ago in the city hall when this whole thing break out right before the things broke out. I was talking to him. I was chatting with him. It was like like he's such a friendly. And when I heard yesterday, it really disrespected me. And in the midst of all this, we really appreciate, and I'm thinking, Mel, you really, you are really positive. And if anybody want to, it's like any, you're like inspiring to the community. You really recovered so well. You know what I mean? I don't know about your immune system, but more like maybe you're so positive and you're so into the. I remember one time when Congressman Pascal was campaigning every day against Rothman, and I asked Congressman Pascal, I said, Congressman, don't you get sick every day? He told me, Muhammad, I don't have time to get sick. So I guess, Mel, it applied to you. It's like you don't have time to get sick. And this is so, I'm so glad seeing you. And and I've been touched. I mean, even though we can't really do campaign, but I was visiting houses for anyone who needs. And so many people out there are like really they're like so confused, so lost, they didn't know what to do. And I was able to touch some of them, helping out little thing here, there, but as you know, there's nothing, no one can give the hopes what will happen tomorrow. So this is why a lot of people, even yesterday, one of my friend, and he tried to kill himself. And you might know him. He's like very popular in the community. I'll tell you, off the phone the name. And he's a good friend of mine, and he lives on Prickness Avenue. He killed himself. He says he cannot take that stay home any longer. And
So
I'm like, what are you doing? He's in the hospital now, in the St. Joseph Hospital. And this is
this is
like,
so sad.
hearing this guy is like a movie. He did couple of seen on HBO movies in Paterson. When they're shooting, he was a part of the crew. He was supporting actor.
This is absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that.
So this really,
That
It's
it
taking
is
a toll on people's mental health.
right. It is affecting
and
people through mental health, and the child abuse has gone higher because I'm part of Montclair State University. Our professor was telling us that the child abuse rate has gone 6% already and because they're kids which are unattended, and it is going to take a toll because people were not prepared for this. No, nobody was prepared for this. This is something
No.
mental, psychological. So it's not just going to take a physical tool; it is going to take a psychological tool for from everybody, from our kids within this pandemic coming out internationally. So the question from there again is: are you getting full-fledged support from your city council, and how is the cooperation going so far?
Well, I've issued a number of executive orders. In fact, the second executive order was to close down all non-essential businesses, and the council, for the most part, has supported that. I want to give them credit as well. They're going out there making sure that we're enforcing that order. And also within the police department, we created a COVID compliance unit. So those are 5 cars, police cars, that'll be out there enforcing the executive ordinance. And I know that council people, we've encouraged them to come forward and let us know if they feel like people are violating the social distancing guidelines that we have provided. So the council, to their credit, has been doing that as well. And this Thursday, we're going to have a virtual town hall meeting. I've invited some council people to participate. So we want them to be a part of the process and a part of the progress that we're going to be making here in Paterson, because at this time we're focused on resilience but there's also that road to recovery, and they're going to be partners in Paterson's path forward.
Okay, awesome. Because that leads to my next question. That
Sure.
we still see grocery stores open after 8 p.m. What is your opinion about that and your plan in that regard?
Actually, they can stay open beyond because they're considered an essential business. And in the governor's executive order, they can maintain their regular hours of operation. So a number of grocery store owners actually called me to clarify, and I indicated to them that that is the case. They can stay open at their regular hours. But again, they have to have customers adhere to social distancing measures.
Okay. So in terms of social distancing, I have a question because you are home with your own family. And at
That's
this
right.
point, how hard it is to, and I know, your wife has been positive too.
Yeah.
So,
My wife is doing well, and it's not easy, Commissioner. It's really not easy. I love my family. Prior to this happening, I rarely was home. I was always out working, but now I'm home and I can hardly see them. So I am turning the corner as far as my health is concerned. Thank God my wife is doing well. And I didn't, Councilman Akhtaruzman, you came over yesterday with some supplies and chocolate. My wife likes the chocolate. I appreciate the supplies. Thank you, Councilman.
that's awesome. Because I know as a father and as a husband, I know men tries to show that they're very strong, and but when it
Yeah.
comes to your family and your kids, it's hard. Just I was referring to Chris Como. He was positive,
Yeah.
and he was actually dealing in a very weak way his immune system, and he explained he was getting fever and chills. I know you said that you have not have any of those symptoms.
Thank God.
And so my question was that what made you think to get tested? What came in your mind?
Okay.
Because you did not had any symptoms.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. I actually noticed 3 weeks ago I lost my sense of smell, but I chalked that up to allergies. But we were going to provide testing to all first responders. So I said, look, I am a first responder. I've been on the front line as well. Let me get tested. And quite frankly, 4 days after I tested, I got my result and I started to question the doctor. But he said, no, you losing your olfactory sense, your sense of smell, is a symptom. And then he brought me in to treat me, and he took an x-ray of my lungs, and he found pneumonia on my left lung.
Right.
So
I'm
hoping that the hydroxychloroquine that I took along with the Z-Pack worked, because I measured my oxygen about an hour before and it was 99. So
awesome.
I'm doing well. Thank God. In Arabic we say Nishkur Allah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, Nishkur Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, that's right. Councilman Akhtaruzman, I like that one.
Besides the medication, are you on antibiotics as well?
Well, the Z-Pack is an antibiotic, so I'm on that.
Any natural remedies which are helping?
I got to tell you, I wake up every morning. I take my vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. I do emergency, and I'm trying to eat right. But if people keep bringing me toros, albasha, Kirchians, I don't know. There's a lot of red meat. I've been trying to steer clear of red meat. And like I stated before, Councilman Akhtaruzman brought us chocolate. We're almost finished with it.
Maybe after Uzman, you have to think of a better healthy choice next
Well,
time.
he's doing, hey, Commissioner, to his credit, I mean, he's out there in the ward providing constituents with a lot of necessary items. He's giving them gloves, hand sanitizers, masks. So I commend you, Councilman, for your leadership.
I actually have to thank you because he has dropped it twice to my house. And hand
he even came to my house yesterday.
So, Akhtaruzzaman, I have a
Thank you. Thank you.
The next question to you is that within our local community, Bangladeshi community, where do you stand with the situation, and where do you think that how can we give a better message to our community, because we sometimes need to repeat in our own language?
Oh, you have,
Did you get my? Could you hear me? I think.
hello?
Can you hear me? Okay. So within,
Commissioner,
can you hear
yeah, I'm
me?
still hearing. Are you asking me question or?
Yes, yes. I was asking you. My question was towards you that you
Oh,
know. I
oh,
know that
okay,
you're
yeah.
very
In
active.
Bengali, should I say something or?
No, you can say in both languages. So what I was trying
I
to,
have a hard time.
you're having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, I have a hard time hearing you.
Okay. So I was asking that in our community, I know that you're being involved and you're helping. So to make things more effective for our community, what do you think should be done? Because with our community, we sometimes need to reiterate things in our own language. I think that any community, an Arab community, or Hispanic community, your own language has a different message. So how do you think that would be a better way of reiterating things?
well, number one, I want to আমি বাংলায় কিছু বলবো যে প্রথমে হলো যে আসলে সেকেন্ড ওয়ার্ড ল্যাক দ্য লিডারশিপ, যে লিডারশিপের যে দরকার, যেটা কি যে মোস্ট ইম্পর্টেন্ট, যে আমি যখন কাউন্সিলম্যান ছিলাম তখন জানি সেফটি আমার নাম্বার ওয়ান ছিল। কারণ মানুষ যদি সিকিউর ফিল করে না, তখন কিন্তু স্পেশালি এক্সাম্পল দিই, ওই রেডউড অ্যাভিনিউ থেকে ওই যে প্রিকনেস পর্যন্ত খুব খারাপ ছিল, কিন্তু আমি কাউন্সিলম্যান হওয়ার পরে ওইখানে পাবলিক সেফটি যেগুলো কাজ করছি আর কি। তা আমার নাম্বার ওয়ান গোল হইলো যে আই হ্যাভ টু ব্রিং ব্যাক দ্য পাবলিক সেফটি। মানুষের কনফিডেন্ট ফিল করতে হবে যে রাত্রে 8টার সময় যে কেউ তার জাম দিবে না, কেউ ব্যাগ থেকে মানে স্ম্যাশ করবে না, এই ধরনের মানে মনে করো প্রচুর অ্যাকচুয়ালি মসজিদ থেকে যা রাত্রে আসে ওদের কিন্তু খুব বেশি লাস্ট ফিউ ইয়ার্স হয়েছে, কিন্তু আগেও ছিল, কিন্তু আমি যখন কাউন্সিলম্যান ছিলাম তখন এগুলো কিন্তু আমি নিজেও এরিয়াতে পেট্রোল দিছি। ওইটা আমার মোর ইম্পর্টেন্ট। আর দুইটা জিনিস হলো যে কোয়ালিটি অফ লাইফ, সেকেন্ড হলো, বাট কোয়ালিটি অফ লাইফ চলে আসবে, কারণ এখন তো সবাই এভরিওয়ান ওনস হাউস, বুঝছেন? আর যখন আপনার ইন্টারেস্ট বেস্টেড থাকবো যে এখন এভরিওয়ান all the Bengali ones now. So এগুলোকে কিন্তু কোয়ালিটি ইমপ্রুভ হয়, কারণ আপনার যখন একটা প্রপার্টি থাকবে আপনি টেক কেয়ার করবেন, কিন্তু মানুষের বয়ের কারণে অনেক কিছু করতে পারতেছে না। তা আমার প্রাইমারি 2-3টা গোল আছে এটা। আর পরে মেয়রের সাথে তো মেয়র ইজ মানে আমার সব সময় সাপোর্ট করতেছে, মেয়র ইজ ফুল টাইম মানে আমার জন্য খুব হেল্প করতেছে। তো মেয়রের সাথে খাস করে কিছু জিনিস আছে ইমপ্রুভ করা। আর ওখানে একটা জিনিস শুনছেন তো ওই যে রিসেন্টলি আপনার যে এই সুয়ার বিল বাড়ে গেছে, এগুলো এগুলো তো আমার মেয়ের সুর আলাপ হয়েছে। আমরা যেগুলো যে কিছু
So,
ভেন্ডার হল আছে যে
I think we should just speak in English so our mayor can understand what you're talking about.
Actually, I was learning a little bit. That's fine.
yes.
You are.
Okay. Yeah. So my prime bring back the public safety. This is why I was a councilman. I worked really hard on this. I was a public safety chairman for 2 years and two terms. And my whole vision was to give people the faith and confidence that you could walk, you could go to the mosque, you could go to the shopping at night, and you come home. No one is you tag you from back, or some of the elders they're getting knocked out. And remember that knockout game while back. This is when I was like, and this is what my primary goal is. And secondary, I want to bring the quality of life. But quality of life is right going to be a lot easier Most of the people, everyone, the second word, they own their house, houses. So this is why. But as long as I can improve, and also, as you know, the mayor is fully supporting me and helping me, and I could work with the mayor. Mayor has so many plans that he want to really, not just second word, he want to improve the whole the city of Paterson. So I want to get part of this. I want to get involved with him. And he's a very, he's a very intelligent man. And this is because he's supporting me or he's helping me. I saw his work when even I was in councilman. We sponsored various ordinance together, and he was the architect of the most of the ordinance, and he knows what he's doing. Yes, sometimes what happened things, in order to implement any strategy, it takes time. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing the little, most of the people didn't see the result, but they will see the fruits maybe a year down the road, because he's putting a lot of things in places. And this is where we're going to, and if we all the council member really work with him, maybe it's a betterment for the city of Patterson. Because I'll tell you this one, and I said a week ago, I did a video, and I says, you know what happened? Leader is not just something like you concoct a vision.
So, next
Leader
question that I have is that, from Mayor.
see, vision come from him. This is what Mayor Andesai comes in. Visionary man is not something I copied from you.
Okay,
In
I
order
think
to
that
be a visionary man,
your
it's
network is
something
disturbing.
in you, always
Akhtar is not.
firing you in you. Yes.
Is it not working? So my next question was from Mayor, that
Yeah.
some of the stores have hiked their prices, and people are bound to, what they're gonna do. That they have to be bound to buy whichever price they are selling it. So, is there an action going to be taken about that, or what?
Well, any suspected price gouging should be reported to Consumer Affairs. They work in collaboration with the Attorney General's office, and I know that they're taking it very seriously, as are we. But that is the enforcement entity, the Consumer Affairs Division within the Attorney General's office.
Um, there was another
And
question that
one more thing I want to
came up.
emphasize.
Okay.
Commissioner, one more thing I want to emphasize. You see, the reason why I say he's a visionary man, he was able to see what's coming. Actually, he even called the state of emergency for the city of Paris. I mean, he lockdown a day before even the governor or the president of the United States declared. So it's like we know, and he took a lot of hit from our own council members. They attacked him, and this was so gross that you don't attack. What he has done. Actually, he saved a lot of the many of the people in city of Paterson. If we hadn't done any, aggressive stand on this, we would be in a dire situation right now. So many of us, for example, even myself, I didn't see what was coming. So many people saved their lives because of he went and he took a bold action. He took a preemptive action. And thank you, Mayor. I really admire you, and I think your history will reveal itself. We'll look back in retrospect, and we're going to copy a lot of your strategy in down the road in future.
So we're getting some
Thank you.
questions here from Mayor. The question is that how are you addressing the issue with homeless people?
Yeah, thank you for that question. We've set up a
right
system.
now.
Oh, you want me to answer? So
No,
we're collaborating.
No,
with,
you answer.
Yeah. We're collaborating with the County of Passaic, and we have a system where an individual, whether that is the homeless person themselves or someone on their behalf, can call 211, and we will respond to the scene, whether it's a law enforcement official. Now, if the individual is leery of getting into a car with a law enforcement authority, then we'll have an Uber driver transport that person to one of the 4 participating hotels. Now, if someone is showing COVID-19 symptoms, we'll make sure that they're transported to the hospital for precautionary purposes. But we do have an ambitious homelessness initiative to make sure that we get them shelter, and then we also get them nourishment as well. So we'll be rolling that out very soon.
Okay, that's awesome. And I know that you are in the process of starting a new program, which is called the Neighborhood Express.
Right, Neighbor Express. That's right.
Yeah.
And you're
So
one of the first people to volunteer, Commissioner. Thank you.
you're welcome. Just explain in few words, what is that about?
So we don't want our senior citizens to leave their homes. They're very vulnerable. We're seeing what's happening with the elderly and this virus. So we're going to establish a program where senior citizens can order their groceries over the phone, and then volunteers will go to the supermarket, pick it up, and deliver it for the senior citizens. And Commissioner, you have volunteered your time for this program.
Thank you. Another next question I'm seeing here is, what is your instruction for the restaurants and in this situation? Um,
So restaurants can only have takeout, no dining in as of now. I know it's very difficult. In fact, next week is the beginning of Ramadan. I want to wish all my friends Ramadan Mubarak. It's going to be a little different in 2020, but it'll eventually get better. But we want our restaurants to abide by the guidelines that we've set forth as far as social distancing and takeout only. Believe me, I'm a big supporter of all these restaurants, so it hurts me to see what's happening right now, but better days are ahead. Mark my words.
Better days are ahead. And actually, I know this on a personal level, that nobody can say that in such a positive way as you have been from day one, being such an out front hero. I do say our mayor, our hero, because you have
Thank you.
proven, by doing it and within your own household. It is so important to have such an important, blessed leader, which is actually leader inside out. And you have shown that throughout your, support, even when you are on your weakest time, we don't see you as weak.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're very welcome. I see there are a couple of
Thank
questions here
you.
coming up.
Thank you,
Uh,
Commissioner.
so another question is that address the issue of crime and drugs. I do see personally that the crime has lowered down, uh, but the drug is in higher level, and husband and wife fights are higher.
Yeah, domestic violence is on the rise, so we're very mindful of that. And like I stated before, our police department, we created those COVID compliance units. They're patrolling the streets. Last week, we saw a rash of shootings, 5 consecutive days. It's quieted it down now, but of course, people are home getting restless. Some get cabin fever, and they want to just get out of their homes and integrate back into society, reintegrate, I should say. And there's Councilwoman Lalisa Mims is watching. Very good.
Yeah. So there's a question that is there any other volunteer groups that people can join staying at home?
Yeah, besides the Neighbor Express, which is very important so we can get groceries to our senior citizens at no cost to them, we will have other opportunities where, like, for example, Councilman Akhtaruzaman has taken it upon himself to volunteer his time to deliver masks, gloves, other forms of PPE, even food to people. So I've seen Zelly Thomas and a number of others. They've done that as well. And we appreciate that Councilwoman Mims has taken upon herself to deliver masks and gloves to those who are in need, particularly senior citizens, not to mention hand sanitizers as well.
My next question is from Akhtar Zaman. Have you seen any initiative from Bangladeshi community within this time frame going on? Because I have seen other communities are doing things like they're doing, food drives. ICPC have done their drive today. It was phenomenal. If you know any from Bangladeshi community, is there any kind of drive going on or any kind of help going on? I do know that some students of NJIT are making masks in the homes and they're delivering to the rehab centers. But if you know of any, or if you want to talk about it, to let people know.
Are you? Yeah, I'm sorry. Some reason I can't hear. I can't understand because of this in my house. Probably I'm not getting the something wrong. I can't understand you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my question was that is there any initiatives or anything going on from Bangladeshi community that you know of that people can get advantage from or take advantage from? Can you hear me?
He may have poor reception. I'm not sure what
No, I
that
can't.
is.
I can't hear. I'm sorry. I
Can you hear me?
What network do you have?
Maybe he's in the basement too.
Okay, I apologize.
No, I'm not actually in that basement. I'm second floor, but I have a problem hearing it. I can't. I'm hearing all bubbles. Like.
Okay, so we have a question here,
on and off tone,
but I'm going to go ahead and ask the question from Mayor. Is there any specific funds for the city to support the totally totally vulnerable person? It might be like disabled or.
Yeah, like I stated before, we have a plan for the homeless. We have an initiative where we can take them to a hotel to provide them with shelter. Neighbor Express is a volunteer program as well for senior citizens. So there are a number of initiatives that we're pursuing to help those that may be the most susceptible to succumbing to the scourge of this mysterious and very serious virus.
Okay. The next question is that as the governor has announced till 15th of May, are we also thinking the same way? Everything is going to be closed till May 15th?
Well, listen, I am not going to focus on a date. I'm going to focus on the data. It's very important that we're driven by data as far as our decision making is concerned. So I'm going to be monitoring metrics. For example, I want to see what our hospitalization rate is looking like, the infection rate. I also want to see the calls for service to the ambulance decline. And when we start seeing improvement in those areas, then we can slowly, and I have to emphasize the word slowly, reopen our economy. And the analogy I like to use, it's equivalent to a faucet. You have to be very careful, turn it on very gingerly. And if things unfortunately start to erupt, then you got to quickly turn the faucet back off. But I've asked our public health officer to collaborate with our economic development director to put a plan together on what reopening the economy would look like in Paterson for barbershops, hair salons, restaurants, those non-essential businesses that have probably been impacted the most in our city.
You're absolutely right, and I actually amend you for that. That this is the right way of, going by looking at the data, because with the NJ News in Sayegh County, Paterson does have a higher number of cases. So I'm very glad that you are going as a data-driven.
Thank you, Commissioner. Speaking of data, you didn't ask a question about the census. We need people to participate in the process. Our numbers are inching up. We're now at about 36.7% response rate. But Paterson, we can do much better. Think about this. It's a process that takes less than 10 minutes. And if we don't get a complete and accurate count, we got to wait 10 years. So weigh it. 10 minutes versus 10 years. I'd like to get it right now so I don't have to wait a decade to do it again. And there is federal funding available for emergency preparedness and disaster relief. Don't you think that would come in handy right now if we had additional funding for emergency preparedness and disaster relief? And then we could potentially, if we have a complete and accurate count, open up a new hospital in Paterson to alleviate any burden on St. Joseph's Hospital. And there's money for schools. We know there are overcrowding conditions that have to be alleviated. And you, Commissioner, speaking from the perspective of a very successful parent, your daughter is in the Navy. Sarah's credit to our community and an inspiration to us all. So we need new school facilities, and we need to resurface our roads. There's money there. And then let's not forget our political representation. In the last 3 census cycles, dating back to 1980, New Jersey has lost 3 congressional seats, and in the last census, Congressman Bill Pascrell had to take on a Bergen County congressman so that we could keep that congressional seat in Paterson. I don't want to have to fight that battle again. Let's get a complete and accurate count, and let's keep our political representation. And also, you don't have to be a United States citizen to fill out the form. That's why I have to commend the Supreme Court, at least 5 members in their infinite wisdom. They felt like it was not legal to ask that question on the census survey. And so you don't have to be a citizen.
You're absolutely right to bring that question up. So I have a question here that obviously a massive loss for the city of Paterson in passing of icon Edie.
Yes.
So his question is, with that being said, increasing initiatives addressing senior citizen and homeless. Thank you, Mayor. Now my question is, we were originally informed that the William Paterson University Testing Center was out of supplies. Has it been restored for the testing? Actually, I can answer.
I knew you were going to address that.
Because I volunteered there. Yes, we have supplies. As of yesterday, we had over 1,000 supplies. The only thing is that before we were testing with the nasal test, now we are doing orally. And, you know, it's either or. So, no, we do have supplies. You can go ahead and take the question. Yeah.
And also, listen, I want to commend Commissioner Ozzy Alam, who represents us on the state UEZ board. Thank you for being a staunch advocate. I believe you are a COVID conqueror yourself. And it looks like your wedding was probably the social event of the year, because there are not going to be many more. But I thoroughly enjoyed, my wife and I thoroughly enjoyed ourselves at your star-studded affair.
And the next question I have is, how long you've been passed after your positive results? Any advice for the nation?
Yes, I do. So I actually tested on April 3rd. Unfortunately, because we don't have rapid testing, I was not informed of my positive test till April 7th. So here we are on April 18th. So it's been, what is it? 15 days since I tested, and about 11 days since I got word. So that's why I feel like I've made my rapid recovery and I've regained my sense of smell.
And everybody,
my wife was cooking and I said, I can smell that.
So how is Farhana's symptoms? Is it very similar or it's different than you?
No, she just, one day she had a headache and she had some gastrointestinal issues, but they're resolved. She's stronger than me.
Yeah, I think everybody is different. And because it's such a new thing, we are learning. Even at our testing site, you know, we have changed our precautions of how to handle. So things are changing on a daily basis.
It's such a mysterious virus. Mysterious.
Okay, so because it's on your personal level, your kids, how are you guys handling? Because
they tested negative, and we're very careful. That was good. Councilwoman Mims says, Mayor, you got your senses back in time for the census. That's she's very clever. I like that one. We work well together. So as I was saying before, obviously the children are a priority. We've tested them as well, and they, thank God, tested negative. All of them. Because that was a concern, my primary concern. And for those who have tuned in, I want to thank Councilman Akhtaruzban for, again, his leadership. He's providing hand sanitizers, gloves, and masks to constituents, even non-constituents like myself. He ventured into the 3rd Ward to make sure that my family had the appropriate amount of supplies.
Someone here is saying that we need testing center in Union Ave.
Well, we're working on getting testing. In fact, that's part of what we should do. Let me explain this. So with COVID, we're putting it in a box. And here's how we do it. We put it in a box. So we identify who's infected. We isolate that individual. Then we determine the close contacts that that individual interacted with, and we quarantine those contacts. And it's what's called contact tracing. And our public health officer and our strike team have been vigorous in their approach, and they're rigorously going through all the contacts. That's Dr. Paul Prasad, who's a Patersonian as well, Second Ward resident. So we're doing the contact tracing, but prior to that, we're identifying those who are infected, isolating them, and then quarantining anyone those who we consider close contacts. But testing is very important. There's got to be more rapid testing and universal testing. I see that a saliva test has just been approved by the FDA, and I was informed this morning that a rapid test, 10 minutes, will be hitting the markets very soon, and the accuracy rate is over 99%. So we're going to need that. If we're going to reopen our economy, we got to make sure that universal testing is a part of the process so that people can go back to the restaurants, go to a hair salon, go to a barber shop.
And I know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No problem. And I know about the saliva testing. The testing is going on in Rutgers University. They were the first one to offer that.
That's right.
Yeah. Another question was here about the small businesses, that small business needs help and we need to start working soon. And I know you did had a PowerPoint or a presentation.
Yeah, we had a webinar with Senator Bob Menendez, Congressman Bill Pascrell, and our entire 35th Legislative District delegation. We also had representatives from the governor's office. So there are programs to assist small businesses during this crisis. There are loans, there are grants, there's a payroll protection program. But I want to tell everybody, I am not deciding this based on a date. It's based on data. And we're looking at the metrics: hospitalization rate, infection rate, calls for service to the ambulance. How much are we testing? Once we see the data and we're starting to see those metrics become more favorable as far as a reduction in the infection rate, a reduction in the hospitalization rate, a reduction in the number of calls made for ambulance service, then we can slowly reopen the economy. And the analogy I'd like to use is that faucet. We're going to turn it on very gingerly, very carefully. And if we see things unfortunately erupt, then we're going to have to quickly turn that faucet off.
Okay.
But we want to bring the restaurants and small businesses back, the mom and pop stores. It does hurt my heart. It hurts my heart. This pandemic has exacted a heavy toll on all of us. Last week, my favorite uncle died of COVID-19. And yesterday we lost a legend in Paterson,
right.
Eddie Cotton, who was a part of my administration, and I appointed him to the Passaic Valley Water Commission. So I want everybody to pray for his family, our current 4th Ward Councilman and former Mayor, Ruby Cotton, his daughter, Candace, his son, little Eddie. Please pray for the Cotton family during this very, I was going to say difficult time, but it's a devastating time.
It is a difficult time on a very huge level. Dr. Zaman, can you hear us, or you're still having, I hear, network difficulty? Can you hear us? I think he's still. Can you hear Dr. Zaman? Can you hear us, or no?
Can he hear you? I'm not sure. Can you hear me, Councilman?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a question which is actually towards my area of interest. We know that physically, socially, this has affected us, and as Dr. Zaman brought up his friend, mental issue, and this is gonna raise a lot of mental disability and issues which are going on. Are we thinking of anything in that term for counseling or helping out, which would be available for
mental health?
Yes.
Yeah, within our Health and Human Services Department, we are going to focus on that as well, because we understand that, yes, it is weighing heavy on people physically, financially, but also emotionally. And we want to be able to address the mental health component of what COVID-19 is impacting right now.
Right. Okay. see another question here. They don't have any funding to help any. Okay, I think we already have answered that. They don't have any funding for small businesses. We already went through that. People are saying thanks for asking. These are all many thankings for coming up. Any last message that you want to give? Because I know we are coming to our
Yeah,
timing.
thank you, Commissioner.
You're
I
very
appreciate
welcome.
you. I appreciate your family. I appreciate your volunteerism. And I want
Thank
to
you.
reassure our residents that I'm making my comeback. And I did it for you. I want to be healthy enough to get back on the front line and lead from the front and know that I transformed my basement into a bunker, and I've been making decisions every day that'll improve our situation here in the city. And I stand by what I did. Early on, like Councilman Akhtaruzaman said, early on, I declared a state of emergency before most did. And I issued a executive order essentially closing every non-essential business. Unfortunately, I was superseded and liquor stores reopened, much to my chagrin. I wasn't pleased with that. However, we created a COVID compliance unit within the police department to enforce the law and making sure that everybody adheres to the social distancing measures that have been outlined. So, Paterson, we are in this together, and we're going to win this together. Right, Councilman Akhtaruzaman? He's having some serious technical difficulties.
I see that. Do you want to impose fine on people to make lockdown not work out?
So what we are doing, we're making sure that we ticket anyone that is not abiding by the guidelines. In fact, there's an article that appeared online today with the Paterson Press. Our police department has issued 265 tickets. So enforcement is occurring.
So actually, there's a lot of people wishing you good luck, and because I'm not a professional, this is my first time, and I am missing out. So I apologize, everybody.
No, Commissioner, you can do no wrong in my eyes.
Oh, no,
and I want to express my profound gratitude to you, Anam Chowdhury, my friend Farah, of course, and all the well-wishers. Because of your support, you have given me strength, and I can be a stronger, smarter leader as a result.
One more question I have, which is a kind of a tough question. It says, our kids are forced in situation to grow up all of a sudden. Any thoughts on that as parents? Actually, me and my husband, because my husband is in the front line, we made a plan B that if something happens to us, what are we doing? And we, spoke with our family members. And so, and my daughter, so the time has pushed us in that situation that we do have to make plans. And we have to make that tough conversation with the kids. Your thoughts on it? I would go.
Yeah, I could relate to that. I mean, obviously we're in a crisis, and crisis reveals character. So we know that if individuals within a family have to step up, they will do so, because this is a pandemic. It's impacting our globe, and action needs to be taken to prevent any further damage. We want to prevent anybody from being in harm's way.
True. So, Akhtaruzaman, can you hear us now?
He's smiling. And I don't think we can hear him. Can you hear him, Commissioner?
No, I cannot.
I do also, I want to acknowledge that he has been very active, he's accountable, and he's very visible, which is important at a critical juncture like this.
So
thank you, Councilman Akhtaruzaman.
Yeah, Councilman, do you want to say something as our time is coming closer? And I apologize with the timing going ahead, in and out. So, no, we can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear him. Do you want me to sort of lip sync what he's saying? Maybe he's saying you're his favorite commissioner. He's saying he appreciates Anam Chowdhury and, of course, his friend Farah as well. We love Channel 52. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a couple of commissioners, Ozzy Alam, we had Kobir Ahmed, we had our councilwoman, Lalisa Mims, and many others. Thank you. We're a strong city. We are one Paterson.
So one last question I got here, that do you think, as a mayor, lack of administration in any of lack of coordination in your administration?
No, in fact, I gotta give credit's due with our public health officer. We created that strike team that's currently doing the contact tracing. We announced that over a year ago. And then within the fire department, they were just featured for being so prepared in the New York Times. And we have adequate personal protection equipment. We're responding to all calls for PUIs, persons under investigation. Our response time, we've improved as well. We're actually, with St. Joseph's Hospital, we're donating supplies because we want to make sure that they don't run short, because healthcare workers, they're on the front line as well. So we've been giving them the coveted N95 masks.
That's awesome, because they are starting to get sick. I know,
yes,
personally, because Hackensack Hospital, there are staff members who are getting sick now, and they're exhausted.
They are. It's taking a toll, like I said, an emotional, physical, and mental toll.
Well, for emotional health, what is your suggestion for emotional health?
Well, here's what I suggest. I know it can't be easy being out of work, being at home for about a month, but a lot of it is your mindset. You have to think positive about this, that tough times don't last, tough people do. And this too shall pass. It will. We have not seen a pandemic like this since 1918. That was a situation where over 600,000 Americans lost their lives, and millions around the world did as well. But I believe the measures we've taken, specifically the social distancing guidelines that we abide by, are going to help us save lives. Because originally, Dr. Fauci, the leading expert on infectious diseases, he said that there could be at least 250,000 deaths in the United States. They've scaled down that projection. Now it's about 50 or 60,000. But one too many.
Yeah. Well, I personally want to thank you, Mayor. And
thank you, Commissioner.
And
you are history in the making, Commissioner. You're the first woman of Bangladeshi descent to ever be appointed to a board or commission in the city.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I'm, happy to serve our community. And,
thank you.
And I hope that in last minutes, Dr. Zaman, can you finally hear us and you want to give some final message?
Again, here's what he's saying. Paterson is going to bounce back. We're a resilient city. And he wants to thank you, Commissioner Anam Chowdhury, and of course, our friend Farah Hassan. And if I don't see some of you, I want to wish you a Ramadan Mubarak, which starts on Friday.
On Friday, inshallah. Thank you again, Mayor, and everybody for tuning in.
One Paterson.
Yes, we will win this together. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.